Welcome into the Slobberknocker Sports Podcast. I do not know what episode this is.
Neither do I.
So we're just going to not have an episode.
We don't know.
Onward and upward until we figure this out. It's a running joke of the 99th episode. We've run out of decimals, so we're just going to say it's the next episode. Like the Snoop Dogg song. Anyway, we had a great weekend at our buddy Jonathan's bachelor party.
Yep.
We'll get into a promotional video.
A little magic
to share with the audience. Our boy Timios, we had a magician up there. Don't know how that happened or why it happened, but it did happen, and boy, was it entertaining. We'll share a clip of that. But before we do any of that, make sure if you're new to this channel, subscribe. Helps us out a lot. Make sure to like the video if you enjoy our content. Comment below. All the normal stuff helps us immensely. We got a ton of stuff to get into. Look, we had championship weekend this past weekend. The playoffs are now set, and we're gonna.
Irish got robbed.
Notre Dame rightfully was left out. We will get into that for sure. We'll probably actually start with college football.
ACC caused permanent damage. AD says.
Well, the Notre Dame. What a bitch move, by the way, not accepting a bowl bid after getting left out.
No, it's actually super smart.
No, it's stupid. And
tarnish a team. What a great team. Jeremiah Love, Price aren't going to play. No one's going to play in the game. Everybody hits the portal because college football is ruined these days.
Well, you look. We'll get into that in just a second. We're gonna talk about Notre Dame and Miami.
God, I hate Mario Cristobal's.
I can't stand them either, and I actually can't stand Miami as much as I can't stand Notre Dame. But I think they got it right. We'll get into how it played out. I think was wrong, but we'll get into that in just a second. We'll start with that. But we also are going to talk NFL. The Chiefs fell last night to the Texans.
Yep,
Their season may be over. They may be cooked. Dallas lost on Thursday night to the Lions. They're going to basically have to win out now to have any shot.
They have to have Philly lose tonight.
They're going to need Philly to lose tonight more than likely, and need some help. Going to be tough for the Cowboys. Going to be tough for the Chiefs. We'll get into all that. The Ravens.
Can we talk a little WNBA lockout? Do we have any updates on that? You are Mr. W, and you haven't said anything.
You've actually been following this more than I have. I really just follow Caitlin Clark and the WNBA.
I promise you, I have not been following.
Well, you said it. Well, last time we were here, you said that they agreed to a max contract of $1 million or something. Is that true?
I saw something like that, but I don't know if they agreed on it. I just saw they were trying to make the new max $1 million bones.
Well, I would say that's a bit excessive. Now, I'm okay with having a Caitlin Clark rule where she can get paid $7 to $10 million a year, and everybody else can have a max salary of
She's not even the best player on her team, dude. Cocaine Bear
is a G, but look, Caitlin is the best player.
What if Cocaine Bear and Caitlin played one-on-one?
I think Caitlin would win.
No, Cocaine Bear's too physical for Caitlin.
I don't think so. I think it'd be a good matchup.
She plays prison ball.
She does play prison ball. Archie's going to town over there. We got a new addition to the set here. I don't know if y'all can see him on camera. Probably not. My boy Archie. He's going to town on that little lick toy. But anyway, all right. Enough of that.
We think he might be Down syndrome. We don't know yet for sure.
What in the world are you talking about?
Archie.
He's not Down syndrome.
Big Dog says there's a chance.
Yeah,
he said it's
Archie's
the dumbest.
Smarter than Jude.
He said it's the dumbest dog you guys have ever owned.
My mom, who is unbiased, says he's the smartest puppy we've ever had.
The smartest?
Yeah, that's what she said.
First of all, no one's smarter than Brooklyn.
No one's grittier than Brooklyn. Smarter is a different story.
Duncan and Lisa were both geniuses and Houdinis. They could get out of any yard at any time.
They could.
Actually, y'all just left the gate open because y'all were trying to have them run off the greener pastures.
I think that's actually what happened.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this. Should we start with college football? I don't have any bad beats this week.
Let's just start college football.
Okay, so let's
the most important.
Let's get into this. So essentially, right, if you've been following along with the college football playoffs and the rankings, we set the bracket yesterday. There was a big controversy, although I think I'll say this. As I mentioned before, if you're not completely following college football, but you watch our show, Notre Dame got left out of the playoff after for 5 straight weeks being in the playoff. They were in the playoff according to the rankings going into this week, did not play, and got jumped by another team who did not play in Miami. Now, you texted me this, to your credit to you, last week, 2 weeks ago, and you said you thought that you didn't think it was going to happen, but you thought there was a chance that the committee would have Miami jump Notre Dame being idle. And the committee did say last week that they could do that. Now, the thing about it is, it makes absolutely no sense to say that, and this is what happened. So we had Notre Dame ranked 10 going into this week. BYU was sitting at 11. Miami was sitting at 12. BYU then lost in their conference championship by 30 to Texas Tech, or 24, 31-7, I believe, which dropped BYU behind Miami. Miami moved up 1, BYU moved down 1, and that left Miami and Notre Dame separated by nothing now. They were right there. And so now, according to the committee, since they were now 10-11, they would say, oh, now we can look at these two teams head-to-head and which team deserves to be in. And because of that, now we're going to bring head-to-head into play, which Notre Dame played Miami week 2. Miami beat Notre Dame. And it was only a 3-point win. But to be fair, Miami did dominate the game. Notre Dame was down, I think, 21-0.
Jeremiah did make some good points. Notre Dame, I was talking to him this morning, of course. He went on a 30-minute rant on the phone. He did say, whatever, out physical-wise, first game of the year, obviously, freshman quarterback. Jeremiah Love.
Second game, right? Or was it the first game?
No, first game. Jeremiah Love only ran the ball 6 times that game. And he's like, I have no idea, whatever. That's a different question for, Marcus Freeman. But the point is, whatever, it's how you want to look at it. Notre Dame with the 2 losses, you can argue those are the 2 best. They lost by, some people are like, there's no such thing as a good loss, whatever. They were early, and it was a combined, 4 points they lost the games by, right? The biggest argument that he had, and I actually didn't realize this, I'm looking at the rankings now, the thing that made absolutely no sense, and then this is kind of why I didn't necessarily realize this at the time.
Bama didn't drop at all, and BYU did?
Well,
because that's what I noticed, too.
That's one thing. Obviously, it depends who you are. Name recognition, you get screwed.
Bama drops nothing for losing by 20, by 21. The bigger one
is week 14, Notre Dame, 2 weeks ago, is ranked ahead. And this is how you knew, and Jeremiah knew. He said the same thing to me. He goes, I thought they were going to screw Notre Dame because in week 14, Notre Dame's ranked 9 and Alabama's ranked 10. Alabama barely squeaks by an Auburn team and jumps Notre Dame for no apparent reason at all.
I agree with that.
Notre Dame looked far better. Obviously, they're not playing anybody good, but they looked far better. They beat the shit out of Stanford. Starters were out of the game by halftime. So how are you going to have Alabama jump them? And Jeremiah said as soon as he saw that happen, he thought they were going to get fucked because there's no rhyme or reason that happened. He knew they were going to put them there, so when they got demolished in the SEC championship game, they would have them there against Notre Dame and say, oh, the game didn't matter. They were in the SEC championship game.
Which again, complete contradiction, which is what I've gotten at the entire time.
Right.
They dropped BYU for losing basically by the same amount. They dropped them out, and that's what allowed Miami to now be next to Notre Dame, and they could say now, oh, well, there's nobody in between them. They're right next to each other, which, by the way, should make no difference, right? That makes no difference to me. What does it matter that they were 10-12 and now they're 10-11? It doesn't matter. But they did drop BYU for the loss, didn't drop Bama at all, and then Ohio State dropped by just 1, and rightfully so, behind Indiana. But we're saying they kind of so the conference championships, they only matter to an extent of what we can use to get what we want to be proven. Now, I will also say this, and you can tell me if you agree, but I believe this 100%. I believe that this is true. In my opinion, they did exactly what you said to have the option. So they dropped Bama just to have the option. Archie's over there digging. They dropped Bama just to have the option to do what you said, right? So they put Bama ahead of Notre Dame, so now they theoretically could drop Notre Dame behind Miami. However, what I'll say is this. I believe had Virginia beaten Duke, that Notre Dame would have gotten in.
Agreed. And
because the whole thing is, if Virginia beats Duke, the ACC now has a team in, and they'd say, okay, well, they beat them head-to-head, but we've had Notre Dame ahead of them the whole time. They don't have to deal with the controversy. However, once Virginia lost to Duke, and that put then James Madison in the last spot, and it dropped all ACC teams out, now you have a big problem because now we're going to have a Sun Belt team and an American team in the playoff and no ACC team. So by losing that game, in my opinion, that's what actually cost Notre Dame missing the playoffs. Had Virginia won that game, I fully believe Notre Dame would have been in, Miami would have been left out.
And it shouldn't have mattered, but that's the whole point. That's what Jeremiah said. You have, and it's 100% true, you have the ACC and the SEC who are big partners with ESPN. Big partners. Like, you think ESPN wanted 0 ACC teams in it?
Oh, I agree.
I mean, he's like, it's a load of bullshit. And, listen, Notre Dame lost 2 games. I get it. You know what I mean? They're not in a conference, but that's another thing that Jeremiah made a point on. Is like, everybody touches they're not in the conference. It's true. They play 5 ACC games because all their other sports are in the ACC, okay? But then he goes, they bitch about them not being in a conference, but these conference championship games don't fucking mean anything anyway. So what does it fucking matter?
I agree with that.
I mean, you can only
benefit from them. You cannot have an issue.
But
you can't
that's
drop.
the narrative with Notre Dame is they're not in a conference. So what does it fucking matter if you're not?
That point is true.
The only thing you can do is benefit from it, apparently. So especially if you're a team like Alabama.
Unless you're BYU, then you can drop the spot.
Correct. Yeah.
Which they were going to be out anyway based on the rankings.
Right.
But not necessarily because we saw somebody move up from not playing. So if we're saying they don't matter, then technically why couldn't BYU jump Notre Dame? It's the same argument. So
yeah,
but
it just doesn't make
it doesn't make any sense now.
Any sense.
I will also say this, and this is true as well, because I still think in theory they got it right. To me, Notre Dame should have never been ahead of Miami. And that's the thing. Had Notre Dame and Miami, and this is why, and Josh Pate made this point, why have weekly rankings then? They don't matter. Right? What's the point? If Miami had been ranked ahead of Notre Dame the last 4 weeks, nobody's really bitching about this, right? Because you could argue then like, oh, Notre Dame looks better than Oklahoma. They look better than Alabama, but they've been behind them this whole time. Having Bama jump Notre Dame so that they could do what they did, having Miami jump them without playing just causes this controversy, but there's no... If you want to split hairs, I think both of us agree head-to-head should matter. So if you're going to look at 2 teams who are, like you're saying, Notre Dame's not in the ACC, but they play an ACC-like schedule. It's a weaker schedule, but they play an ACC schedule. Okay, well, then if you're looking at 2 essentially ACC teams and they're both the same record and they both are relatively similar in rankings and metrics and one beat the other should go. And here's the other argument I will say, and Notre Dame fans can disagree with this all they want, but I'm absolutely right. If you flip the names of these 2 teams, like if you flip Notre Dame and Miami, right, Notre Dame fans would make the exact argument Miami fans are making in favor of themselves.
Oh, yeah,
they would say, well, but we beat you head-to-head.
AD said the same thing. He's like, I have no problem with Miami as a university saying that. He goes, they're a good football team. They beat us.
We would say the same thing.
He just had the problem with the ACC, kind of the way they handle it. And he's like, what is Archie keep
I don't
beating?
know. It's fine.
Oh, boy.
All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. The continuity makes no sense because I'm holding Archie now, but we had to corral this little fucker. All right, sorry, Turner, you were saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we agreed all year that head-to-head needed to matter. It's just the way the committee did it. It's stupid. The one thing that we just have to do, I think, the next logical step, just get rid of the preseason rankings. Who cares?
That's step
Play the
one.
Games. I think that's step one. Like you would look at Vandy's. Obviously, their resume.
Go there next.
They probably get in without question. I mean, it's just and then the eye test. Frankly, if you got rid of preseason rankings and Notre Dame lost those 2 games and then they're doing what they're doing, they probably. I know it didn't hurt them, right? But maybe they don't get in this year. But I'm just saying in general. Obviously, you're right. For the most part, through history, besides the one Lou Holtz national championship that he claims they didn't get, where they beat Florida State.
Right.
Notre Dame usually gets a benefit of the doubt.
They do.
They usually get in these spots. And Miami did beat them head-to-head, so credit to them. I do think, and you're a noted Notre Dame hater, I still think that, like, Indiana, Ohio State, and Georgia are the only teams on a neutral that are favored over them at this point.
I will say,
maybe somebody else.
I will admit this. Notre Dame looks like one of the best teams in the country. If you want to go by numbers, yeah, you're probably right. Those are the only 3 teams that are favored over them. However, that's not what we've done in the past. It's resume. It's what you've done in the season. And
agreed. I'm just saying
I agree. And I will say this. I really don't know what they are. I think they are a top 5 team. I don't know because they haven't played anybody. And so it's like, if looking at what I saw in the game Ohio State Indiana, nobody looks that great. So you could make the argument Notre Dame is live to win the national championship. Sure, I think a lot of teams are. I think Ole Miss, if they didn't lose Lane Kiffin, was live to win the national championship. We don't know, but I think in terms of just between those two teams, they got it right. The execution of how they did it was wrong. I agree with everything you said about preseason rankings, that they need to go. But I do think if we're just going to talk about, okay, 100% bottom line, there's one spot left. It's between Miami and Notre Dame. Who deserves to go? Miami deserves to go over Notre Dame. And I think 99% of people who are not Notre Dame fans would agree with that. They would also agree with the fact that they shouldn't have jumped Notre Dame if they've been behind them this whole time. So it works both ways. But if you it's like when an official makes a call and then they look at the board and get it right, but they shouldn't have done it, right? Like, they got the call right, and theoretically, yes, it's right, and it's what should have happened, but the execution of it was wrong. That's not how it works. You can't have it like that and just change the rules to fit your narrative. And like we said, it was 100% dependent on who won that ACC championship game. I'm telling you, if Virginia wins that game, Miami's out and Notre Dame is in. I fully believe that.
They wanted to have
They had to have at least one ACC team, and it just is a bad look to have a Sun Belt team and a no ACC team. So I get that. Now, the other argument I want to get to, like you mentioned a second ago, is the other teams. This is the problem. I can't stand, and I understand that when they came up with the system, the thought was, well, of course the Power 4 teams are all going to get an automatic bid, and then the fifth one's going to be the conference champ from the group of 5 and having one group of 5 team in. And theoretically, that makes sense, and that's why we're fixing this as we go, and it's why the people who create this system don't think this shit through. They don't get it, because this has happened in the past, like where in the Big Ten, right? Like in the Big Ten, we've had times where Iowa or Wisconsin are bad and get in the Big Ten championship game, and they didn't think about that. Like, oh, well, if one of those teams wins, what happens? Like, and so they didn't think this whole thing through. I believe this part will be addressed next year, because everybody's talking about it right now. Is we should not have two group of 5 teams in the playoff. Look, to be honest, Mac Brown said this the other day. I've heard a couple different people make this point as well. I don't think we should have any group of 5 teams getting an automatic bid. What's ridiculous to me is we're going to have 2 horrific games in the first round. Ole Miss and Oregon are going to roll Tulane and James Madison. And even if they don't, neither of those teams have a legitimate shot. I don't think they have a shot to win a game, let alone a national championship. Mac Brown made the point. Why don't we just have 2 separate playoffs? Why don't we just have a playoff for the group of 5 teams? I would watch that. Anybody who's a college football fan would watch that. Crown them the group of 5 national champion, right? And just have the Power 4 teams play each other. We could get rid of them playing each other in the non-conference. This would fix that too. We're not going to go play these shitty teams anymore. We're going to play a 12-team schedule. You're going to play 3 non-conference games against opposing Power 4 teams from each of the other 4 conferences, and you're going to play 9 conference games. That's our 12. We have a conference champion, and we have however many people get in. But the fact that we have Texas and Vanderbilt sitting at home right now is disgusting. Specifically Vanderbilt. I can live, and I'm a Texas fan above all else. And I 100% think that the fact that they played Ohio State week 1 is why they didn't get in. If they were 10-2 and they played Baylor week 1 and beat them by 30 at 10-2, they're going to be like number 7 or 8 right now.
No one beats Baylor by 30.
So, well, a couple teams did this year, I'm pretty sure. However, Texas did lose to Florida. So and they shouldn't have lost that game to Florida. Florida's horrible. And so I don't feel as bad for Texas. I feel horrible for Vanderbilt. I'm not just saying that because Bailey's a Vanderbilt fan. I say it because it's true. Vanderbilt is 10-2. Any other 10-2 team in the SEC is an automatic bid. It's not even a question. Like, if you want to tell me who's better right now, Oklahoma or Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt's far better than Oklahoma. Vanderbilt is far better than Oklahoma. It's not close to me. I would think Vandy beats Oklahoma on a neutral field by a touchdown, at least. And they have the best, most exciting player in college football, who, by the way, should win the Heisman. The fact that we're going to give the Heisman if they do to Fernando Mendoza is a joke. It's an absolute joke. He's not that good. He played the worst schedule in college football. He wasn't even that good in the championship game. He made one good throw at the end of the game. That was it, right? It was basically just a jump ball, to be honest, and the corner got beat. I could have made the fucking throw. Diego Pavia is the most exciting, most electric player in college football. Bailey made the point the other day to go on the Heisman side that there's a different aspect to the Heisman Trophy that we never talk about, but there's like a moxie or a Heisman moment or the way a Heisman carries himself. It's the Manziel effect, and that's what Diego Pavia has. He's the most captivating guy in college football. And he's the best player in the SEC. And he's not going to win the Heisman because we're going to give it to a guy who's just on an undefeated team because they won every game and beat Ohio State the last week. Like, they were going to give it to Julian Sayin if they won that game, and he was horrible in that game. So that's kind of like my side tangent there. But my point overall is that the fact that, like, nobody really says anything. There was a couple people who talked about it, but, like, nobody really says anything about how Vanderbilt got left out. Like, it was just almost a foregone conclusion. Like, they weren't even in the debate going into that week. Why couldn't they jump Miami and Notre Dame? They have a far better resume than Notre Dame. How is Notre Dame ranked ahead of Vanderbilt in the first place? Their 2 losses are to Vanderbilt and Texas are to Bama and Texas on the road. And if you think that the Bama game wasn't close, you didn't watch it. That game was closer than anyone thinks. The final score was completely not indicative of how that game went. Vanderbilt had every opportunity to win the game. They lost by 3 to Texas on the road. Those are your 2 losses. You played in the SEC and won 10 games, and you're fucking sitting there at 15 or 14 or whatever they finished. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. They should be in the playoff, and instead we have fucking James Madison and Tulane playing. I think they need to get rid entirely, not just having the top 5, because having 2 is a travesty. It's a travesty. James Madison, great story, good for them. It's travesty. Oregon's a 23-point favorite in the game. All right? We just wasted a playoff game right there, right?
Yeah.
They need to fix that, and they need to fix that this year. To me, that's step 1. That needs to be addressed.
I used to like it where the little guy got in, but it just
College basketball is fun. It's different
right.
now.
Yeah, I mean, in college football, it's like, okay, maybe one in every 5 or 6 years you would have a 12 beat a 5. And then they would have no chance in the next round. Like, they're never going to piece after getting beat up by a bigger, tougher team, winning 2 in a row. It's just not going to happen. And not to mention, like, hey, if there's a non-Power 5 team that's, ranked in the top 10 and they're that good and they're undefeated, they're going to get in anyway, right?
Right.
So I just think that, we need to get rid of that. If you get in by your own merit, not just, as an automatic qualifier. And it's, for one, and obviously it's only supposed to be one, but obviously they're going to fix the verbiage where this never happens again, where you have 2 of them in there. It's, I don't.
Do you think that gets addressed this offseason?
Yes, no, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll get addressed.
Do you think we see any sort of expansion going into next year, or are we a couple years away from it?
It could. They might go to 14 or 16.
I will say this, though. Here's the thing. I don't think expansion fixes the problem.
Not at all.
Because we're still going to have the same debate. Like, if you had 14 teams in right now, Texas, Vandy, or BYU is getting left out. One of those 3, right? And so you're either, like, penalizing BYU for losing in the conference championship game, you're penalizing Texas for losing to Ohio State, or you're penalizing Vandy for just their name. Like,
right.
So it's one of those teams gets left out anyway.
No matter what. It doesn't
No matter
fix
what.
anything.
And if you get to 16, it's going to be the same debate about 15, 16, 17, 18. It's going to be the same thing. It doesn't matter. So the expansion doesn't fix it. I would say adding the 4 more teams, like in this year, typically, right, you have like 1, maybe 2 teams you think to win the national championship. This year's so wide open. Like, if Texas and Vandy were in it, they could go on a run to potentially get to a national championship. I agree.
Game,
I think either of them could. They're both good enough in this year.
So that's kind of the deal. Same with Notre Dame. They're left out. Notre Dame
could make a run,
could
too.
Probably beat anybody.
And if there's 16 teams in, I have absolutely no problem with Notre Dame being in the playoff because they have one of the 16 best resumes, right? Like, I think they're like the 12th or 13th best resume. And so, to me, I completely agree. Like, this year would have been nice to have more because we just got in this situation. And Kirby Smart made a good point about it, too, for SEC teams. They're talking about adding another SEC conference game next year. He said, well, that's 8 more losses in our conference. Who's getting knocked out from that game? We already had to play 8 games this year. We went from 7 to 8, right? Now we're going to go from 8 to 9, plus the teams who play in the conference championship. If I'm Greg Sankey, that's the dumbest move I've ever heard. Unless they fix this and start addressing what the criteria is to get in or expand the playoff and say we're going to get this many teams from the SEC, it makes no sense to do that. And so, that's the other issue is, again, the SEC beat each other up and Vandy and Texas get left out for bullshit reasons when they're better than like 5 other playoff teams, right? Like, it's just garbage. And I get it. Oklahoma did steal a spot because they should have lost to Tennessee. They should have lost to Alabama. And they won games where they were completely outgained.
Should have lost to LSU.
You should have lost to LSU. They're the worst team in the playoff. And so, but you look at them and you're like, how do we leave them out? They won at Alabama. They won at Tennessee. They won here. They won there. Their losses are to Texas and who was their other loss? I forget the other loss they had. two good teams. Oh, Ole Miss, Texas and Ole Miss. So anyway, I just to me, I think this is a lot of things that need to get addressed. But number one, I think, is getting those group of 5 teams out of the picture. Like, I don't even want one in there anymore. Last year, you at least had Boise they were ranked in the top where they were going to make the playoff regardless.
Regardless, yeah.
So that is okay. Like, I'm not saying, and if you wanted to do that, where it's like, okay, if they're actually ranked and they can get an at-large bid, then fine, that's fair. Like, Boise gets an at-large bid,
right,
for sure. Like, let them in. They deserve it. They earned it. They're one of the 12 best teams, but not an automatic bid. Like, why are we putting the 25th best team in the playoff, right? It makes sense in college basketball when there's 68 teams and you want to give the little guy a shot, and it's like there's 37 at-large bids, because who cares between 36 and 37 or whatever. But it does matter in this small of a playoff. And when you're playing a 12-game season and 1 or 2 losses matter, James Madison is in the playoff, it's just a joke. So we can move on from that. Let's look real quick at the playoff, because, I'm sure we'll preview the games a little more in depth next week.
Yep. Heading
into it. But let's just look at the roads real quick. So the first round, we're going to have, obviously, James Madison and Oregon. We're not going to talk about that game. Let's start a different spot here. Most captivating first round game. We have James Madison, Oregon, Alabama at Oklahoma, Tulane at Ole Miss, Miami at Texas A&M. The spread on the game that has the closest number, I believe, is Oklahoma's laying 1. Is that right? Or are they catching 1?
I don't know. I figured
it's one way or the other.
I figured it would be a pick.
And then you have what are you more interested to watch? Alabama, Oklahoma, or Miami and A&M?
Probably Miami and A&M. I don't really care about Oklahoma and Alabama. We've seen the matchup. Oklahoma won at Alabama. I'll tell you what. I don't think Oklahoma's any good. I think they'll beat Alabama.
You do.
And I think Indiana will beat them by 21 the next week, because I just don't think Oklahoma will score. Oklahoma, the defense is really good, and I think Ty Simpson just fucking sucks. I think the Alabama, this is the worst Alabama team in the last decade, I think, by far.
Bad. It's pretty bad.
They're not very good. I think Oklahoma wins a close game, obviously. But I'm sure most people are probably, I get that on paper Alabama's probably a better team, but Oklahoma won there, and I think Oklahoma at home with that defense will turn Alabama over 2 or 3 times and win the game by like a field goal. It'll be an ugly game.
I do think Bama's chances here are a little bit contingent on their health, because they did have, I think it was like 7 dudes that were in the rotation some way or another out against Georgia. They were both pretty beat up. They got 2 weeks to get a little healthier. So I think that matters. I don't know. I will say this, to your point. I've watched Oklahoma play multiple times, and I think that they're terrible when I watch them play. But the defense has played so good in some of those games, and just they're getting outgained by 150 yards, and they're somehow winning the game. I could definitely see that happening against this Alabama team. They already beat them once in Tuscaloosa. So I don't know. I think it's a total coin flip. Gun to my head right now, I would, just because of what I saw the last couple weeks from Oklahoma, specifically that LSU game at home against a horrible LSU team with a backup quarterback.
I mean, there's also
I'm going to lean Bama.
Right. There's also no way, in my opinion, that, Mateer's ever been healthy after coming back against the Texas game. Like, I know that he's probably 80% or whatever, but I think having 2 weeks off before this game, or almost, 20 days, whatever, will help him a lot. And who knows? I mean, he still turns over the ball too much for my taste. He was a fun. Early on, they were kind of fun to watch, and the offense has just gone totally stagnant.
It's horrible.
I don't know what's happened to them.
I think it
is hard to watch.
I think it's partially the injury, and I think it's partially welcome to the SEC. He played at a much lower level.
Right.
Some guys translate, some don't. He hasn't seemed to.
It's just the least dynamic offense I can ever,
I think teams figured out what he can and can't do, and it's like, okay, throw the ball downfield against us, and he can't do that. So. Yeah. And it's not like Oklahoma has the best receivers either. So I agree. Hard to watch. Like that game to me is contingent upon injuries, but also what happens in the first quarter and a half. If Alabama gets a lead on Oklahoma, that game is over, right? I think whoever wins the first half wins the game. But Oklahoma gets a lead, they're going to lean on their defense, so they're going to run the ball down Alabama's throat. Alabama's defense is not very good. And they'll run away with it and win a low-scoring game where they grind it out. If Alabama jumps on them 14-0, the game is over in the first quarter, right? That game comes down to early on. Okay, quickly, Miami, Texas A&M, initial thoughts.
I think A&M beats them just because it's a home game. They're playing on a neutral. I think it's coin toss as it comes at Kyle Field.
It's a morning game.
It's a morning game. Just at Kyle Field. Just the noise. Beck seems to get hit a decent amount anyway and turn the ball over. I'm going to say he throws like 2 or 3 interceptions and A&M wins a game. I don't think they blow him out. I just think that they win at home.
I saw this number has been I saw 4, I saw 4.5. Somebody said it was 5.5. I don't know which way it's trending right now. I'm looking at the bracket.
It says A&M -4.
That's what I see here too.
I don't know if that's right, but
I see that here too. I would say if it were me, I would probably say that's right because I think Texas A&M's home field is worth more than any team in the country with the exception of LSU. So I would say that's worth like maybe 3.5 points. So I think these teams are about even on a neutral field. So I think 4 is a fair number. I don't know. I don't. Miami's looked better the last 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the numbers are skewed because Mario Cristobal ran the score up late. Some weeks I look at Miami and they look like the best team in the country. I bet them to win the national championship like after week 2 or 3, and then they look fucking horrible for 3 weeks. The one thing I will say, A&M, okay, here's the thing with A&M, and I said this last episode. A&M played 2 ranked teams the whole season. They played 2 decent teams the whole season. The first game, they played Notre Dame, and they won because Notre Dame missed an extra point. They got away with an egregious hold and converted on that same play a 4th and 13, I believe, or 4th and 14. That was essentially the last play of the game to score and win the game. Should have lost the game, I think we both agree. Don't play a ranked team for 10 weeks. Play a ranked Texas team who is the worst version of Texas in the last half decade, and they lose by double digits, right? Can't get to Arch Manning. Yes, they got some pressure on him. Sacked him twice the entire game against a Texas offensive line that was much maligned and did not look good all year. I said this before the Texas game. I don't know what A&M is. To me, they somewhat got exposed. Miami's defense has played much better over the second half of the season. If Carson Beck can take care of the football and the offensive line can hold up, I think the receivers for Miami are better than anything A&M's seen all season. Tony is electric. Now, who's going to have the coaching advantage? A&M, right? A&M with extra time to prepare. I totally give the edge to Mike Elko, even if he might be a cross-dresser. He does get the edge over dumbass Mario Cristobal. But I still think A&M is somewhat fraudulent. And for that reason, if I was betting this game, I would take Miami plus the 4. Yes, tough environment. I think it's a huge bonus that it's for Miami that it's a morning game. If this was at night, I would say A&M wins this game by a touchdown. Miami could absolutely get blown out because I could see if they get down, it just imploding, and A&M leans on people when they're up. But I don't know, man. I kind of think Miami's going to win this game, and that's not actually me saying I don't like Miami, right? Like, this isn't me saying it because I dislike A&M.
You dislike A&M far more than you dislike Miami.
No, I do. But I'm just saying I wouldn't not bet.
I mean, it's only a 4-point line.
If I'm looking at this game and I think
it's even.
If I thought A&M was going to win this game and I thought I could make money on it, I would bet A&M, right? Like, I'm not going to hold a grudge because it's A&M. I legitimately, if I was putting my money on this, and I'm not going to bet this game, I don't think, unless this moves a bunch. I think Miami's is a live dog here. I think they're worth a sprinkle on the money line, and I would take the plus 4 if I had to bet it. Any shot? Does Tulane have any shot against Ole Miss? What's the number? I haven't seen a number on that
17, one. It says.
Oh, wow. I was thinking it was going to be like 13.5.
I don't think so. I think Ole Miss's defense is too good this year.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, last kind of tidbit. Let's just go through the last couple things, and we'll go to the NFL. Of the 4, last year, I believe, the first year of the 12-team playoff, all 4 teams that got a bye lost in the first game. I believe that's correct. Oregon was the number 1 seed, lost to Ohio State. Arizona State and Boise State got a bye. Now, that was different, right? They weren't actually top 4 teams. They both lost, and Georgia got upset because Beck was out by Notre Dame. I don't think we see that this year. I think probably there's a good chance all 4 teams, with the exception of Tech, I think that's the only coin flip, advance to the next round. Who has the easiest draw here? If you could pick a draw, regardless of who, like what teams it is, which spot would you rather be in? 1, 2, 3, or 4? If you're one of those top teams with a bye.
I mean, Indiana, but you get to play Alabama or Oklahoma. I mean, they'll win that game.
And then you're going to get Tech or Oregon.
Yeah.
So it's actually advantageous this year, you think, to be the 1 seed. Last year, you had to play Ohio State in the second round.
I have a question, though, and I don't know if either of you know this, because I've always wondered. So, like I said, ESPN made the mistake originally of putting Texas Tech in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl to play. How do they select where those games go?
Okay, my understanding.
And do teams get to choose?
My understanding is they do get to choose. My understanding is the 1 seed gets the first pick, the 2 seed gets the second pick, the 3 seed gets the third pick, the 4 seed gets the fourth pick. However, I could be wrong. The only other way it would be, and I thought maybe this is what it's true, is it's based on geographic location. So Indiana gets the game that's closest to them first. But that doesn't make sense, does it? Because the Rose Bowl wouldn't be closer than the Sugar Bowl, would it, to Indiana? Louisiana would be closer than California, correct?
Yeah, and Dallas would be closer as well. That's what I'm saying. I think they pick. Choose, maybe.
That was my initial thought. That's why I told you when I texted you. I was like, how did Tech get the Cotton Bowl?
Well, the reason being is Tech, because maybe no one else, because it's not close to anybody else. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe Indiana wanted to go play in the Rose Bowl. I have no idea. Just for a prestige deal or whatever. Maybe they're like, hey, we want to play in the Rose Bowl.
It is interesting how this plays out. Like, how does
Georgia get to play Georgia's at the Sugar Bowl,
I guess because if they chose, like, let's say Indiana was like, okay, we want to play on at the Rose Bowl because there's not really any advantage to them playing any of those places. So they're like, we're going to play at the Rose Bowl.
Like, they're definitely they definitely don't play in the Sugar Bowl against Ole Miss or Tulane, right? That's a home game for
right,
them.
and that's the thing. Is so you're playing Alabama or Oklahoma, there's no advantage to either of those teams if you play at the Rose Bowl. Right? So that's probably if Indiana chose that.
I was curious how they come up with that.
And that makes sense because then if you're Ohio State, right, you're not going to pick the Orange Bowl with the potential of possibly playing Miami, right? And so it's going to be between the Sugar Bowl and the Cotton Bowl, and I guess the Cotton Bowl is a little more neutral. Although I would think now that looking at it, no, they would pick the Sugar Bowl. They'd pick the Sugar Bowl,
yeah,
because they play A&M. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they are set. Maybe they just had the graphic wrong. I don't know. We should look into that.
Yeah, that's one of the questions. I usually know all that stuff. That's one of the questions I have no idea how that works.
My understanding always is they've got to pick, but that was back when it was the 4-team playoff. The higher seed got to pick which one they wanted. I believe is how it worked. Don't know how that works. And then what are the next two? So Chick-fil-A, Peach, and then Verbo Fiesta would be the semifinals. Do you think that? I know you're answer this, but I want you to give it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Do you think Tech gets through their first game? Do you think they beat Oregon?
I think they'll beat Oregon. I mean, I think it's a coin toss game, but I think they'll beat Oregon. I just think that Texas Tech's defense, listen, they play in the Big 12. I get it. I truly think that defense is at least in the top 5 of college football. I do. Maybe not, but I think they're pretty good. And only time will tell. We'll see. But look, BYU, say what you want about them. I don't think they're great, right? They scored 30-something points on Utah when they played them, and Utah's defense isn't terrible. They're not that bad of a team. So BYU scored on everybody except when they played Tech. They got shut down. They scored on the opening drive, and what did I tell you the opening drive? I go, they busted out the entire playbook on this drive. I go,
I agree with you.
To score. I mean, there was like reverses. They, everything they possibly could, and they scored 7 points. They were held scoreless. And like I said, West Virginia's no good. Obviously, they're not a good football team. They scored 40-something on Houston, and when they played at Houston, they scored 0 points against Texas Tech at home. I think the defense is good. I think the offense, Dickey and Morton, I mean, I think they're a solid team, and I just am not sold on Oregon. If they're playing somebody else, I'd be like, I don't know. I just don't think Oregon's that great.
I'm not sold on Oregon either. And
I know you're not sold on Tech because they play in the Big 12. I mean, I just think that the line on that game will probably be Oregon by 2. Yeah. I don't even think it gets to 3.
No.
So it's pretty much a coin toss.
If it got to 3, I'd probably back Tech because I think it is. I agree with you. I don't know. I don't have enough information on either of those teams from what I've seen to have a definitive side. I would only lean Oregon based on the fact that I think Oregon's roster as a whole has more talent. However, I'm openly a Dante Moore hater. I think he's horrible. I don't see it. Nothing about him jumps off the page. I thought he was terrible at UCLA. I thought Oregon made a mistake going after him. I think that Oregon is one of those teams that has actually, weirdly, as the 5 seed, I think they have no chance to win a national championship. Like, I think Tech has a better chance to win a national championship than Oregon. But I do think if you're looking at just that matchup, who has more talent on their roster, Oregon does.
Right.
And so if you're getting into one game, it's a neutral field game, and we have this deal where the last year we saw the teams who got the bye looked rusty. The rust versus rest went to the rest, or went to the rust against the rust. Right. And so those teams all struggled. I think Indiana, Ohio State, and Georgia are good enough to beat whoever they play anyway, but I don't know if Tech is. So if you're going coin flip, a little more talent, and they're going to be off of a bye basically for what, 2 weeks, I lean Oregon for that reason. 3 weeks. I lean Oregon for that reason.
The only thing I'd say that's nice about Tech is, yes, usually, if they can get off to a decent start against Oregon and not start super slow, the good news is they're preparing all month for Oregon.
Agreed.
They don't even have to worry about James Madison. They don't know they're going to win that game. So it's like,
agreed.
Hey, and then if we do play James Madison, well, we'll
they might have a contingency plan, but they're not going to look at him for 2 weeks. Yeah. But I will say this. I highly doubt, and I know that you can't do this, but this is what's going to happen. Oregon's going to spend 70% of their time on Tech. They're not losing to James Madison at home, right? And so Oregon's going to spend the majority of their time prepping for Tech anyway. And in my opinion, Dan Lanning versus Joey McGuire is maybe the biggest coaching mismatch of the second round.
Didn't Oregon lose their coordinators? Didn't they leave?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought they were going to leave somewhere. I thought
for the playoff or after?
No, they may be staying. They may be staying for the playoff.
My understanding is all the coordinators stayed until the end of the playoffs, but I could be wrong.
Could be. I think it sucks that Lane Kiffin left, because I do think out of all the teams that are, ranked 5 or below, the team that could take a flyer and win the national championship is Ole Miss, because defense is good. They score a gazillion points. I mean, I just think they could beat anybody on any given day. So it's like that would be the team that I would as a dark horse if Lane Kiffin was still there.
If Lane Kiffin was there, I think they'd be very live to win a national championship. Yeah. I said this 2 weeks ago. Ole Miss's lone loss was to Georgia on the road, and they led by 9 in the fourth quarter against Georgia and blew the lead and lost by 8. So there's nobody who you can convince me they can't beat, but will this Lane Kiffin loss hurt them? Now, he did release the OC to go back and coach the playoffs. So at that, I think, helps, because you're at least getting a guy who is most familiar with what Lane does. Now, the decisions, having to go for it, the mentality of the team not behind Lane, who knows?
Well, and ultimately you have the new head coach that who's the DC, probably making more.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, he is the head coach.
Is he's not interim, they've hired him.
He's the head coach. Yeah, they hired him.
Well, that's even better. That's a smart move at this point, because
oh no, for sure. You probably get to keep some of your recruiting class,
right?
At least
it's
on
good for continuity.
On the defensive side of the ball,
yeah,
right? Because they've been good.
And for continuity purposes, right? Of like people caring, it's like, oh, our coach isn't going anywhere after this year. This is our guy. Anyway, yeah, I'd agree. And then, okay, right now, just off the face of it, who are you picking to win the national championship? And I think we're gonna have the same team here.
I am gonna pick.
And who are they play? Like, give me the championship. Give me the Final Four championship and your pick.
I'll take Georgia and Indiana, and I'll pick Georgia to win the title.
Okay, Georgia, Indiana. Georgia wins the title. Do you think it's Tech? You think it's the four top seeds advance? Tech versus Indiana, Georgia versus Ohio State?
Yeah.
And then you got Georgia and Indiana and Georgia?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, man, I'm gonna throw a wrench in here. I can't do that. I don't know. Man, it sucks. I really think Indiana could lose the first game they play. It's just such a high of winning the Big Ten and all the media attention. Fernando Mendoza's going to win the Heisman. I don't buy Indiana still, weirdly, and people are going to shit on me for that. I just don't. I think they're very beatable. Not that I don't buy them. They're very good. I just think they're beatable. I want to say Oklahoma or Bama could beat them, but it's just the worst. Like, if that was Ole Miss, I'd pick Ole Miss to beat them.
Right. Oh, no, if it was Ole Miss, I would think that Ole Miss would have a legitimate shot.
I guess
I think whoever comes out of that Ole Miss-Georgia game will play for the national championship.
I agree with that.
I think either one of them beats Ohio State. I don't know. I'm just
not
an Ohio State guy this year.
I'm going to say Ohio State, Georgia, and Georgia beats them. And I'm going to say Indiana, Oregon, and I'll say Indiana wins. And then I'm going to say I'll pick Georgia as well.
What the fuck? You picked the exact same.
No, I picked Oregon. I did, but I picked Oregon. What do you want me to do? I can't pick Alabama or Oklahoma to beat. It's too hard here. I could say this. I'll say this. I'll pick This sucks though, because if I pick this team and they lose, Oregon upsets Indiana in the semis, gets to the championship somehow and gets spanked by Georgia. That's what I think happens.
Would you be irate if Texas Tech won 2 games in a row and played for the national championship? It's really not impossible. Indiana, like you said, is a beatable.
I think it's very unlikely. They're beatable for a team who actually is pretty good.
Oh, boy, here we go.
No, I wouldn't be irate. If they won the whole thing, I would.
I'd be so fun.
But there's no possible way that they beat Indiana and take down either Georgia or Ohio State. Like, there's a better chance of.
Oh, there you go. Go say it. Go ahead.
What?
Say whatever. There's a better chance.
There's a better chance of like Anthony Edwards like staying around for one of his kids' lives than Tech winning a national championship.
Okay,
yeah,
that's all we needed you to say.
Just don't think it's likely. I'm not the jinx like you, but by the way, thank you for reverse jinxing me in the pick'em, because you said I had no chance to win it, and I came all the way back and claimed the title.
You did.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on from college football. Let's go to the NFL. NFL, we had an interesting week. We started off with the Cowboys and Lions on Thursday night. Obviously, the Lions win it 44-30 in a shootout. Dallas is in trouble now, 6-6. I'll ask you this: if they run the do you think they run the table anyway? Do you think they run the table? Home versus the Vikings, home versus the Chargers, at the Commanders, at the Giants. Do they run the table?
No, they'll lose the game. It's Cowboys.
3-1.
Yeah.
Okay. In which case they're out for sure. That would finish 9-7-1, and they're out. Okay. We're not going to spend a ton of time on the Cowboys. That was their season on Thursday. You need to take that.
It's okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. If you do, you can.
No. It's good. It's good.
Okay. It's fine. All right. We'll look at the Sunday slate and go through some of these things. We'll start with, let's see here. Kind of going off the.
You're talking about the games this week?
Yeah. Let's go through some of the games this week. We had Buffalo and Cincinnati.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. I had a buddy that was actually at that game.
Yeah, and Buffalo was lucky to win the game. They were down with 5.5 to go.
First of all, Buffalo's never lucky to win again. They have Josh Allen, sir. It's Superman.
Josh Allen is Superman, but the fact that Joe Burrow threw those 2 picks was pretty shocking the way it happened.
I didn't see them, but yeah, I heard they were pretty bad picks.
Bernard, the first one was an incredible play by Bernard.
Right.
He threw a bad ball, but the fact that he caught it and then ran past him and scored. The second one was a bad throw by Burrow. Look, he's been off for a while. He's been rusty, but this is a huge win for the Bills. If they lose that game, they drop to 8-5 in the playoff picture. Even just to stay alive for the division, that was huge. They had to win this game, and it did not look good for a while. Are you concerned? I know we like the Bills. I don't think this team has any chance to win a Super Bowl the more I watch them. The defense is so bad. They're just atrocious.
I don't know.
They're so horrible.
Yeah, they're kind of like the reverse of the Texans. The Texans' defense is so good. The offense is terrible. And the Bills' the offense is a juggernaut. Their defense sucks. Yeah, man, I don't know. I still think they can go to the Super Bowl. I'm maybe crazy to think that. I just think the Bills no one's really – I know people – the Chiefs are out of the way. I think the Patriots are a very good football team. I don't think Drake May and them are ready to go. I just don't think he has the weapons to go to a Super Bowl
agree with that.
yet. And eventually I think Drake May will be able to do it by himself, kind of like Josh Allen does. You know what I mean? But I just don't know this early first playoff run if he can do it. If he could, it would be an amazing feat for him. But I'm going to say I'm sticking to my guns. My Bills-Rams pick that I had at the beginning of the year.
I think I said Bills-Lions, which isn't looking great, but I think the Lions are going to sneak in. Okay, the Bills' remaining schedule here, they've got at the Patriots this week, biggest game of the year.
Yep.
Then they go Browns, Eagles, Jets. Even if they lose that, the Eagles are at home. I think they have a good chance to win that game. If they beat the Patriots, I think there's a good chance they run the table. Are they going to beat the Patriots?
Patriots only have 2 losses though at this point, right? So they're going to need the Patriots to lose another one. Yeah.
Good point, but even so, even with the Patriots,
who knows what the tiebreaker is even after that, right?
Correct. And the Bills the Pats do have to go to Baltimore, who's going to be playing for their season more than likely.
They look horrible.
I don't think Baltimore will beat them. That said, though, that game is huge in multiple ways for the Bills, not just to stay alive for the division, but just in terms of the wild card spot, right? Like, so right now the Bills are sitting 9-4. The Chargers are 8-4. If they win tonight, they're 9-4. The Texans are 8-5. The Colts are 8-5. Like, there's one of those teams getting left out. Now, it helps for sure that Baltimore lost yesterday and that the Colts lost Danny Dimes for the year. So more than likely, I think
pouring out for Dimes. What a year.
That's sad, actually, because
he
was having a good year. I feel bad for him. Looking at this right now at the AFC playoff picture, I think we have 6 of the 7 teams set. I think Denver, New England, Jacksonville, Buffalo, the LA Chargers, and the Texans are all in. I think the Colts get left out now that Dimes is done. And the only deciding team then is going to be between Pittsburgh and Baltimore, who are 1 game apart, and Pittsburgh beat them yesterday. By the way, okay, here, I want to talk about this. Did you see
taxes and Mike Tomlin going 500 or better? Well, God.
He has not clinched that yet.
Oh, my, what a win.
He has not clinched. He's got to win 2 more games.
Rodgers was celebrating on the sideline like they won the Super Bowl.
He's got to win 2 more games.
Awesome.
The Steelers have to win 2 of their last 4 to go, because they're not going to be able to go 500 unless they tie a game.
What an organization.
So the Steelers' remaining 4 games that they'd have to go 2-2 for you to win the bet. They have the Dolphins at home, at the Lions, at the Browns versus the Ravens. I think they go
2-2.
I think they go 1-3. I think they only beat the Browns.
You're just saying that.
No, I really think they're going to lose either at home to the Dolphins or at the Browns, and they're definitely going to lose to the Lions and the Ravens.
2-2.
Did you see? This is a point I want to talk about, and I can put the video up. Did you see the last drive of the game, or I guess it was the second to last drive of the game for the Ravens? Baltimore's driving after Aaron Rodgers fumbled the ball and they overturned the fumble, which, by the way, okay, there were 2 controversial calls. Sorry, I'm going to go back to the first one. So it's 22-27. Pittsburgh's got the ball like on their own 20-yard line. Aaron Rodgers is sacked and fumbles the ball. It's ruled a fumble recovered by Baltimore on the field. Did you see that video of the recovery? Did you see that fumble recovery? If so, I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull it up real quick while we're doing this.
Look, dude, I can tell you this. They got it right. Whatever it was, it went Mike Tomlin's way.
I'm going to pull it up. All right. So here's the play. So it was 2nd and 10 on the 41-yard line for the Steelers. It's 27-22 with 7 minutes to go in the game. Rodgers is going to drop back to throw here. It's batted. It's intercepted and ripped away. Okay. They initially rule it Baltimore football. Now, they're going to show this replay. I just don't know how this got overturned.
My initial thought was it went back to Rodgers. He has joint possession and his knees are on the ground.
So that's what they said, but not joint possession. They said he was down by contact.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, like he's down.
Watch the replay here. You can't tell.
Oh, you're a Steelers hater, bro.
No, you can't tell from there. Like you're saying, you have to definitively see it. So show me where he fully has possession. He's down. Hold on.
Down.
No, he's not. He doesn't have the ball at that point. He already lost the ball. Watch. They'll show the other. That one, you would overturn it from that look?
Let's see again. Hold it. They didn't have one angle where you could see the ball?
They did, and he didn't. It looked like he didn't have it. They're going to show one other one.
Now he has it.
Okay, this is the one. This is the one. Watch. This is the one. Maybe I'm wrong on this one.
No, I mean, I get it. I would say that that's a tough one. Okay, so he
doesn't have the ball, though. Look, his other hand's not on the ball. He has, what, one finger on it at this point? To me, that's still loose. To me, he doesn't have possession to say he's down by contact in half a second right there. You let it play. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it.
There, though?
No, he still doesn't, though, I don't think.
I don't know.
Maybe you could say he does. I just think for the NFL, they don't overturn a lot.
They don't overturn a lot, but yeah, that was close.
Okay, so that one went the other way. Now, they end up having to punt. Here's the next one. Okay, the next one I thought was worse. This one, I don't understand. Everybody agreed that this was a touchdown, but apparently the rules say differently. Okay, this is kind of almost like the Dez Bryant one. So here we go. This is with 2:50 to go in the game, the second to last drive from the game. On play action, Lamar's going to find Isaiah Likely here in the end zone. Catches it, touchdown, and then knocks it out. They rule it a touchdown on the field. They rule this a touchdown on the field. We're going to go back and look at it again here on the replay.
I mean, it happened so quick.
Okay, catch.
Okay.
1, 2. He's taking a third step, and then he's hit it out.
Yeah, I wonder if it has to do with that third step not being like completely down. I don't know.
I just don't understand how this isn't a touchdown.
Yeah, that's a weird one to overturn. Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah, the third step. I don't know if you need a third step.
I don't think you do.
I thought you needed 2, but maybe you need a third step to complete the process. I'm not sure because he's being contacted at the time, but he didn't have to survive the ground. So, yeah, I don't understand that
I don't
one.
get it either. If you don't have to survive the ground,
I'm sure they gave some kind of an explanation, but, yeah, I don't know.
I
know if you get the third step down right, anything that happens after that it's a touchdown.
Sure. I just think that's two calls that both could have gone either way that both went the way of the Steelers that were both overturned, not stands, right? Yeah. And so they kind of I was just curious your thoughts on those. Those were two kind of controversial calls yesterday, and the Ravens lost the game because of it.
The Rodgers one, to me, I kind of think like, okay, I don't know how much. I think he had enough possession of being down, but that one, to me, should have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, they were both very close. They could have gone either way.
The fact that they both went the Steelers' way and both overturned.
What did whoever came in to talk about that say?
I believe they said something about you still need a football move after 2 steps or something is what Gene said.
Or a third step
yeah,
or
so
something.
it might have been that's what the rule was. I wasn't really listening. I was like just dumbfounded that it wasn't a touchdown.
Right. See, like the Des Bryant one always to me is he takes 2 and then the football move to me is him diving.
Agreed.
It's like you're a ball carrier at that point.
That's worse.
But like I don't understand that argument. I was like, okay, he's clearly, and then Gene just interpreted of no, he's just going down and didn't survive it. But like to me, it's very obvious. You see him take 2 steps and then dive. But I don't know. I guess they would any official tell you a dive isn't a football move, right? I mean, I don't know. That must be it. Like,
I would think, but they did change the rule after that, didn't they?
Could have. I don't know.
I'll just show this real quick because we're here. This is the last play of the game. The Ravens actually got the ball back and drove it inside the 30-yard line of the Steelers and had one play here. They had more than one play. They had 9 seconds to go. And I want you to watch.
They got it decent down there.
And watch Lamar here. I mean, this is pathetic to me. This is why
they were giving him 15 yards and out of bounds.
Yep.
Too.
And look at this. And that's how the game ends.
Boy.
I can't get behind him anymore. Like I think he's just so overrated. I really do. He doesn't even care. He looks like he doesn't even care.
I mean, the one thing I'll say is I agree. I don't think Lamar's ever going to win the big one, and I've always been on the record saying that. I do think he's playing hurt right now. He hadn't been practicing a lot. That they say he's hurt. I don't know.
He don't look hurt.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him.
Sure, I just know moving okay.
I just know he's on the injury report. I don't know what
he is. They said he got stepped on this week or something. I don't know. I don't.
I mean, the Ravens.
You still think the Ravens win the division? You said that last week. Because we were looking at it and we're pretty sure that the Steelers would. I mean, the Ravens would have the tiebreaker if they tie.
They would.
That's what we thought last week looking at it. If the Ravens beat them the last game, and they're tied, I believe the Ravens will have the tiebreaker. It depends on. I think it's division record. Isn't it?
No, the Ravens will not win the division. They play at the Bengals, which I think they'll lose that game. They play New England, Green Bay, and Pittsburgh.
Oh wow, yeah, no, they're not going to win the division.
They're not winning the division. I thought they would win that game, be a game up, right? And then it's like, okay, then
sure,
yeah. So that was my guess.
Wow, so the Steelers likely going to the playoffs, huh? By the way, it's been 2,431 days since Mike Tomlin's last playoff victory. Shout out to Mike. Keep the streak going. Even if they make the playoffs this year, they will not win one.
I said that. I was on the record this year.
You were. We're going to keep the streak alive.
And they're going to lose the first round of the
playoffs. They might go 8-9 and still make the playoffs. It's very possible. In which case, I would still win the bet because I said that they weren't going to go 500. I didn't say they wouldn't make the playoffs.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I just said they weren't going to go 500. All right. Quickly, let's move on to a few other things, and then we'll get out of here.
Rams rolling. Buccaneers have a horrific loss.
Are the Rams going to win the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Do you actually believe that? I know you picked them.
I actually picked them to lose in the Super Bowl to the Bills.
Okay.
I believe. I picked them to go. Yeah. I said it's Buffalo's year.
On the other side, you just mentioned the Bucs. The Bucs, did they
lost to the Saints, dude.
Did they miss the playoffs here? Did the Panthers end up winning this division?
I don't know. They have the Bucs ahead of them, so they must own the tiebreaker.
But I think they've only played once, right? Or have they played twice?
They probably only played once. Let's see.
They have not played yet at all. They played twice.
Played twice.
So they played week 16 and week 18.
I'm going to say the Bucs still find a way to go.
Dude, they look so bad.
I think they'll split, obviously, their games. That'd be my guess. Win one. Carolina wins at home, loses on the road. And
Carolina's got a tougher schedule because they have on the road at the Saints, and then the Seahawks are their other 2 games, and the Bucs have I believe, the Dolphins at home. The Dolphins on the road and the Falcons at home. So a little bit easier schedule for Tampa. But, yeah, I mean, look, the Panthers basically control their own destiny now. If they win those 2 games against Tampa, they're going to go. So, I don't know. I kind of think Carolina might win. And don't forget, we have that deal where every time the year after Ohio State wins a championship, a national championship,
Panthers play for the Super Bowl and
Panthers
lose.
play for the Super Bowl and lose. So I think that might be what's going on here because we thought they were dead in the water. And look at the Panthers. Not so fast,
They're
my
right
friend.
there.
Okay, one other couple things I want to touch on scrolling down here. What was the other things I wanted to go through here? Oh, of course. Biggest point here. Packers-Bears. We heard the clip of Ben Johnson saying how much he respected Dan Campbell and Kevin O'Connell, who are, he said, 2 of the best coaches in football. And then he always liked beating Matt LaFleur twice per year. That was in his introductory press conference. He's taking shots at LaFleur during the week. And he ate him because Matt LaFleur got the better of him this week. Now, the Packers dominated the game most of the way through. The Bears made a comeback late and tied it. Green Bay ended up taking a 28-21 lead with under 2 minutes to play on a Josh Jacobs 3-yard touchdown run or 2-yard touchdown run. And then the Bears were trying to do what they've done already 5 times this year, a game-tying or game-winning drive in the fourth quarter.
And that's all that Caleb does, frankly.
And look,
the
last 3 times they've done it, Caleb Williams has thrown 1 or 0 passes on those drives. And last night, he had to actually make some throws, and you know what happened? He threw an interception and lost them the game. Question.
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
Well, there's no live by the sword. He did nothing positive.
He lives by the sword all the time, dude.
He doesn't do anything well. I think he sucks. Okay. Here's a very interesting deal. The Chicago Bears were sitting in the number 2 seed going into yesterday, leading the division. They're now sitting in the 7 seed.
Yeah.
And
that's how tight the NFC is.
And the Detroit Lions are 1 game back and already beat them once, and they play again. Do you think Chicago is going to miss the playoffs here? Does Chicago get in? They still have to play the Packers again.
We picked them both
at the Niners.
We saw after they beat Philly, we're like, yeah, they'll probably get in. I'm going to say...
I think they're going to miss the playoffs.
I'm going to say... Let me look here.
Packers, Niners, and Lions are 3 of their last 4 games.
Man, they just run the ball so well.
They really do. It's hard to stop them.
Man, I will say...
The Lions have to go to the Rams, but then the other 2 are the Vikings and Steelers. I think the Lions go 2-1. And I think the Bears go 1-2, and I think they're tied going into the last game. But even if the Lions are 1 game back going into that last game, they're going to have the tiebreaker if they beat them. So I think that it will come down to the final game, and it'll be Lions versus Bears to go to the playoffs.
Well, I'll say that they I'll say they miss it. Are they playing it? Where are they playing that game at?
In Chicago, because the first one was in
Then
Detroit.
I'm going to say they make it.
I don't. I think Detroit.
Jared Goff can't play outside.
He can't. But I'm just telling you,
Bears are going to run the ball the entire game.
I think the Bears are going to miss the playoffs. I do.
I don't think the Bears are any good, but I mean, I think they're going to. Well, I mean, I do, of course, because I respect Caleb. But me and Big Dog's boy.
Do you think the Packers hold on to the division?
Yeah.
They have a tough schedule. They go at the Broncos, at the Bears, versus the Ravens, at the Vikings. That's their last 4.
They'll hold on to it.
I think they win the division, and I think the Lions sneak in the 7th seed, and I think the Packers are. I mean, the Bears are out. Last point. Chiefs, are they done?
Yeah, season's over.
Is the dynasty over?
Yeah.
They're done. It's over.
Yeah.
They're going to win another.
Hell of a run. Mahomes will win another Super Bowl at some point. I just don't think it's going to be like in the next 2 years.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the next 5 years.
Yeah. Might take 5 years down the line, and then he can get on he'll probably stay in Kansas City, and they'll rebuild it. But it just, I think Andy Reid's probably done in the next couple years too, right? So.
Yeah. C.J. Stroud won the game last night with a 33.5 QBR, 15 of 31, completing less than 50% of his passes, and they won the game. Mahomes was 14 of 33 for 160 yards and 3 interceptions for a QBR of 19.7.
Texans defense is the real deal.
They're the real deal. Is that the worst?
Will Anderson's probably, if he's not the best defensive player in football, he's top 3. He's unbelievable.
I agree.
His motor is just incredible.
I agree. I think they're the best defense in football. But I also think that was Mahomes' worst game he's ever played. And yes, they were great. I don't think that's the sole reason that he was that bad. I think he's just not been as good this year. Like, he just hasn't been. They have plenty of weapons. The offensive line isn't bad.
Oh, they have plenty of weapons.
Like, I don't know what's going on with him. He doesn't look like he's the same. I don't know. He doesn't. The last couple games have just been not great, right? Like,
yeah. Ravens look terrible. Chiefs look terrible.
Except for the Cowboys game. Like, if you remove the Cowboys game, the last 5 games, he's thrown 1 touchdown and 6 interceptions. That's pretty crazy. If you remove the Cowboys game where he had a good game, against Buffalo, Denver, Indianapolis, and Houston, 1 touchdown and 6 picks. That's crazy.
Pretty crazy.
That's crazy. I think they're cooked too. All right, we'll get out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure if you're new to the channel to subscribe, like the video, comment below, all that good stuff. Let us know what you think about the college football playoff rankings, the Notre Dame-Miami debate. Should Vandy have been in? Should Texas have been in? All that good stuff. The Cowboys, can they still get to the playoffs? Probably not.
Super Bowl bound.
Super Bowl bound. Turner's Dallas Cowboys.
My Cowboys.
But thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you guys next week.